Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Charm Citizen Show. I am your host, the Charm City Maven. I am here today with Coach G of Coach G Academy Incorporated. Coach G is also my daughter's step team coach. So, say, Coach G, how are you? How are you
I'm
doing today?
good. How are you?
I'm doing
Black,
good.
blessed, and highly favored.
Yes, yes, all of those things. Are you a church going woman as well? That's an odd way
Bedside
to start.
Baptist is where I tune in, but
Okay,
no, I don't go to church.
okay. I'm
You
not
got the joke
religious, so
bedside. Me either. But did you get the joke bedside Baptist? Like by the bed?
just by the bed. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Just like turn it on Zoom, the Zoom churches that was all the rage.
Yeah.
Incidentally, I say that I'm not religious, but I have been dabbling recently, which is a very interesting term. If you ask me, for me, I have in the last year and a half, I have visited a synagogue and have participated in a Jewish practice.
Oh,
I have fasted for Ramadan 2 years, and I've started dating Christian men. But that's a story for another day. So that has been
well,
like
I
my
love
deliverance.
that. I love that to be spiritually whole. We
Mhm.
inherit our religions, not to get too like religious-y.
Uh,
We inherit our religions from, who knows what.
yeah,
Because we don't know what walk the person prior to us had and why they get why we inherited the religion or why it was introduced to us. But I just always believe in being a good person, doing to others,
that part. That's the
the
most important
golden
part.
rule, and I think pretty much every religion can agree to that.
That's I'm here with you on that one. That is 100% how I am. But today we did not come to talk about religion, though we could. Honestly, I wanted to talk to you a lot. Said a lot about motherhood. I want to talk about the step team, how you came to that. But I will just say, like, even I came to motherhood or came to my non-religious practices from my own mother. She was into New Age mysticism pretty much my whole entire life. So that kind of gave me like this more of like a explore, see what things that you gravitate towards. So I think in a lot of ways that's kind of like opened my mind to like a lot of things. So yeah.
That's
All
what's
right.
up.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So you're from sure. What is step? I know you get that question a lot.
Yes, I do. Step is a traditional art form that comes from Africa that includes spoken word, clapping, stomping, rhythmic movements, all in response, and what most people compare it to as body percussion. So making music with your body parts and your mouth.
Wow. Okay. I did not know that. I really did not know that. Okay. That's education for me. How did you get into it?
So when I was in middle school, I was cutting up, acting a fool, and one of the members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated literally pulled me up out of class, like, "You think this is cute?" Read me for filth. That's back in the day where you could really like read a kid, and the parents would be
Mm.
like, "Thank you," and was like, "This is not. You need to do something productive with yourself, and I think that you should go to step practice." That invitation to step practice changed my life forever. One, because I became a part of something. And I
Mm.
coming to school became purposeful because I was not doing what I was supposed to do, and I was not making grades and good grades simply because of boredom. I didn't
Mm.
have anything I was attached to. Um, Over the years, I did it for about 5 years, from middle school through high school, and then when I went to college, I pledged Delta, so that same woman became my sorority sister,
Mhm.
and the bottom line of it is, you know, when she gave me that invitation, like that, like I said, it changed my life. But looking back, it helped me actualize my future. So when I started Coach G Academy, it was something I wanted to do for like 5 or 6 years, something I really wanted to do. I wanted to have a mentoring program, but I didn't know what would be the thing that captured them in. And, right after college, I won a step show at my college because I was in a sorority, and one of my sorority sisters recommended me to be a step coach at a local high school, the Baltimore Leadership School for Young Women. I interviewed for the job, I got the job. They went from not really having a program and not really having a full sisterhood to being undefeated. And now we're all still very connected to this day. So I was able to kill two birds in one stone, do step and have a mentoring program. And when I started Coach G Academy, I wanted to branch off from that because I wanted to reach more kids. I wanted to see when I was in a documentary step, I saw that the program was needed across the world, not just in Baltimore City.
Mhm.
So I was able to see that, okay, this is needed. More people need me or programs like this in their lives. So that's how I got started, and that's how I got here where I am right now.
Okay, you said so much. I mean, think of it. Okay, so
Yes.
you started at Baltimore Leadership Academy for Young Women. That's what it is, right?
Baltimore Leadership School for Young
School.
Women. That
Yes.
was my first coaching job there.
Okay. All right. And this was fresh out of college for you?
Yes. I was a late bloomer, so I wasn't your average college age, but I just graduated. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Wow. And so we did I know that Bliss was pivotal to you, but we really need to talk about the documentary that actually that shows what all you did there with the sub team, with the
Mhm.
girls, the journey that they took. So if you could tell us like how did that even happen? Like how
So, like I said, it was my senior year in college. One of my sorority sisters knew someone at Bliss who was looking for a step coach who was
Mhm.
mature, organized, and really they wanted to change what was going on there because what was going on before. I think the step coach before was just not really prepared to handle that kind of position. She just more so was into choreography rather than like actually building a program and instilling sisterhood and having recently pledged in a sorority and just having done step most of my life and seeing how pivotal it was and me actualizing my future, that's what I led with. So
Mhm.
my goal was to change one girl's life. I was like, okay, nothing else. If one girl comes out of this program and saying, thanks to you, I did da, 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 I'll be happy. So I was hired, I interviewed, I was hired. And honestly, I was intimidated when I saw the step team. They were really, really good. And I was like, what am I gonna bring to them? And my husband was the one who was like, you have you love kids, you want to teach, and they doing a documentary. You never know what this might do for your future. And I was like,
Oh,
okay,
so the
I'll try it out for a
documentary was
year.
already like percolating. Okay.
Yeah, the documentary was percolating and they just needed a step coach to kind of bring it all together. I wasn't around in the beginning stages and they went through quite a few step coaches. It was very meant to be. That's all I could say. It was meant to be for me to be where I was and who I was with at that time and knowing who I knew. Because I I didn't know the person who interviewed me. My sorority sister was like, hey, someone's gonna call you about a job. And right out of college, a job, that's what's up. I'm here for it.
Right.
So yeah, so once she told me all that, I was like, okay, I'll try it out. I was discouraged at first, and my husband was like, no, this is it. You should try it. So, the most important decisions you'll make is your partner. At the time, he was my boyfriend.
Well, yeah, that is what they say. That's why,
Mhm.
I'm still trying to figure that part out. So what year did it come out? I know when I saw it was 7 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So it came out, I want to say, no, I don't want to say, I know it came out August 2017.
2017. Okay. Yeah. Like I definitely saw it.
Yeah.
And then not only that, the dance team, I'm pretty sure danced at the American Visionary Arts Museum for MLK Day. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. So like I was like, oh yeah, I want to see them. I want to see that. So that was actually my
Mhm.
first time going to that museum, as a matter of fact, too, because that is one of the museums that is expensive out of all of the other free museums that we have. So on
Okay.
Martin Luther King Day, like that is the day that I prioritize to take the kids. So we actually had the opportunity of seeing your girls at that time perform, and
Yep,
then
they were all over the place. They performed everywhere. They were the first step team to ever perform a high school step team to ever perform on Broadway. So that team was the Lethal Ladies of Bliss, so Baltimore Leadership School for Young Women. They performed everywhere.
so that's where the lethal comes in. The lethal, the fatal, your current team is called Fatal Attraction. The question that I really want to ask is like, do you still love it? Do you still have the passion for it that you did as a child?
You know what? It goes in and out just like, with any other career.
Hmm.
Philanthropy is very difficult and super fickle, especially right now with who we have in office.
Hmm.
It is a literal attack on Black led and Black serving organizations, and we're not going to waver. We are going to stick to who we are and what we do. It's just been really difficult to navigate. I mean, there's so many layers to being in love with what you're doing and the thing that you fell in love with. So that's a part. And then we have our magnificent parents who can be challenging at times. You
Hmm.
know, I have some of the most passionate, outgoing, outspoken parents, and I love that they give me all that and goodness. But when they give it to me, the other way, it's rough.
It's a
So,
different thing.
yes, understanding that, I'm a partner, kind of like a co-parent almost.
You
I want
are.
the best for your child. Yes, I want the best for your child, but I also understand that they're going to have to fail. I also understand that, when they don't have a safe space in you, they can come to me. And
Mhm.
that's really important at a middle school, high school age, especially middle school, when they're kind of getting who they're going to be and gaining their level of integrity and personality. And in these times when they were, in COVID a couple of years ago, when those key developments years didn't kick in. So I would say that. And then the girls, they are the light of my life. They are.
Well,
They
sweet.
are. Watching them grow up is the most fulfilling thing that I have ever been a part of. So seeing a young lady come in 7th grade and then graduate high school and then go to college and come back and help, that's like, whoa, homie, you are a whole grown woman. Like,
Yeah.
how do we get here? So that is a beautiful thing. And, they make mistakes, they have ups and downs, but we provide a safe space for them to be able to do that. And we hold them to the fire and hold them accountable. But once I see that you no longer feel like you got to be held accountable, then I got to let you go. That's the hardest part, letting girls go when they leave. When
Mm,
they graduate, which is hard, but I know we're always going to be connected. But when they quit, when I have to put them off, that is tough. Anyone who knows me know you got to do something serious to get put off the team. And because I'll communicate with you, I'll work with you. But once I see that, you're not invested anymore, you got to go because it
yeah.
impacts the other girls.
I could definitely understand that. But what you are echoing is the sentiments of, it takes a village to raise a child. And
100%.
it's 1,000%. It's definitely something that I echo. I have recognized like my own, let's just call them shortcomings for this conversation in terms of like my own parenting style. I am very much like the 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 easygoing mother. But I'll say that for the people that I have chosen to include in my village, the other external partners that I look for, I do look for them to have maybe like a more disciplinary and take a slightly heavier, not actual heavy hand, but like a slightly heavier hand. Because I think there is something to that in that a child needs that. I don't necessarily think that they need it from their mother. I do think that they need it from other places.
Well, I will say, knowing both of your children for the time that I've known them, they are great children,
Thank you.
great kids, and you're doing a great job. Trust me, I've seen a lot of kids. Yes.
Well,
So,
first of all, I'm a
you're
pet
doing a
myself.
great job. Yes. Pat yourself on the back because it is not easy. And we have to have a village. We have to.
Yeah. So your village was Baltimore City as well?
Well, I actually was one of those city girls who used my grandmother's address to go to the county.
One of those.
So my village was M1, okay? I was on M1 a lot coming from,
Uh-huh.
I am absolutely one of
Right.
those.
Wait, the M1, where was the M1? What? Because
Girl, from
I was
on
on
Dawman all the way
to
up to Milford Mill Station.
that way. Okay. All right. So I was traveling on because we're right on Park Heights. So I was
Yeah,
traveling M3 up and down. Okay. That's
yeah, yeah.
that's
So
very
that's
Baltimore
some
core.
yes, M1, M2, M2, M3,
Mm-hmm.
because M2 is
Mm-hmm.
I think Ricestown Road
Yep.
straight up. Yeah, so the kids don't know nothing about that. But I did go to Walbrook and Douglas for a little bit, but it wasn't a good fit for me. I liked it, but having not gone to school early on in the city and then going into Walbrook in like the last 2 years when it was going to be open, because I was there those last couple years, like 2003, 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it wasn't a good fit. There were fires every day, 3 times a
Yeah.
day, not drills, fires. So we couldn't get through a class.
Oh yeah, no, you had the worst of it. That yeah. And that
Yeah.
kind of is a culture shock. So even with my journey, I jumped around twice in high school. I went to Poly and then I went to Northwestern. And the changes in, I guess, the style of the kids. Now, granted, these are my same neighborhood kids that I grew up with as a child and even in middle school. So I didn't have any problems. But it really is the culture of the school can definitely have an impact. And even the culture of the families. You can kind of tell like the people who are determined to filter their children through a certain space, it kind of really does make a difference. So it's that middle school and high school years, those are really critical. I'm starting to think
Very.
about what I'm going to do with my young one, with Atlas. I'm trying to figure that out because that is,
Yeah. I mean, my son is in 1st grade, and I've been looking at middle school since last year. It's
hmm
very serious.
yeah,
It's very serious.
yeah, slightly pivoting. So you have 3 kids, but you have 2 boys and a
Yeah.
girl. But
Yes.
you had your boys first.
Yes, which I wanted. I wanted all boys.
You wanted all boys.
I did.
Okay. Do you notice the difference? Because you've now experienced what it is to raise girls, sorta, kinda, through your journey as a coach and as a teacher. Well, as a teacher, you taught both. I'm assuming because you weren't always at an all
Yeah.
girl, right?
Yeah, I've taught both, but mostly girls. That's where I mostly taught at, all girls school.
Hmm.
Is there a difference? Well, let me start with the first difference. The difference in having your own natural born children and teaching, and not having your own natural born children and teaching.
Please
And
tell us about that.
coaching. And coaching. Cause listen, before I got married, all of the girls who knew me like before I got married, before I had kids, they'd be like, we need McIntyre, because that's my maiden name. They'd be like,
Hmm.
"Where's she at?" Because she gets
Hmm.
them together. You all nice and waving and giving hugs. You ain't do that when you was out, coach. So understanding like the level of nurture that's needed, that's something that I never was really touchy feely, still not, but understanding that it's necessary. And every child that I had, that girls always say, you got softer every single child you had. As far as teaching, understanding the stakes, like I could not imagine a teacher having a bad day teaching, like just sobbing around because they're having a bad day and not teaching my child. Like there's one day missing. So, just taking their education extremely serious as a Black mother, seeing children that look like me that very well could be considered my kids. I was like, oh no, I can't fail them.
Hmm.
And not that I was failing them before, but I was young. I was like, I'm not gonna say I was in it for the paycheck because please teaching. But I was young. I didn't really have I didn't have the connection, the nurturing connection. I had the emotional connection. So I think it just increased my nurture. You know what I'm saying? Being a parent and then now having two children in school and figuring out what number three is gonna do. The stakes are high, man. These are real human beings that's about to be our future. So
That is, I think people forget about that part. I really think people
yeah.
forget about that part. Like the
Yeah.
whole point of, parenting is to nurture and usher in the future. Like these are little human beings who are going to grow into adults. And you have to take that seriously. And two, you have to consider, I guess, to try not to do the things that are wrong. I mean, like wrong by them, if that makes sense. So a child does not need to be yelled at. I mean, like it isn't that me. Maybe I'm not much of a yeller, but it's like that. Actually, let me stop because I know that there's a place for it outside of the home.
Yeah.
But what
I
I
mean,
mean,
I
like there's
yell all
not.
the time. I yell all the time, but it's not abusive. It's not mean.
Yes, that's what I
It's
mean.
not unwarranted. Yeah. I
Yes,
mean, it's a fine line with manipulation and abuse when it comes to adults and children on both
right.
ends.
Yeah.
But everyone has their style, and we have to appreciate that. Like you said, you're not a big time disciplinarian, and that's reflecting your children. They don't need a lot of correction. They're great kids.
Mhm.
So somebody coming off at them hollering and screaming might just be like, "Whoa, bro!" That is like they'll probably be completely taken back and like, "I'm good on you and everything you got to do."
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or it could be like, "This is the balance that I need." But I think that they're emotionally intelligent enough to understand that simply because of how you raise them. And I think if parents understood that they're raising adults more and treated their children like they are raising human beings and people that are going to contribute to society, then maybe it wouldn't be so many all those trigger words that the popular words that the
Hmm.
narcissists and all the popular
Yeah.
buzzwords that people are using and miscategorizing and misdiagnosing people as. It wouldn't be that.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. Exactly what you're saying. We just got to be more thoughtful. We just got to be
Yeah,
more
yeah,
thoughtful.
yeah. I yell with thought. Yeah, I be hollering because I yells at mines and I yells at yours all the time. You can ask
Listen,
her.
have at it. She probably deserves it over there.
But the thing is, what is so remarkable is if you ask any of them, like,
Hmm.
do you feel like she's being unreasonable? They'll be like, no, we know exactly what we did. It's a safe space. It's safe.
Yeah, no, I know that. I definitely believe that. Do you think that what are your hopes for the team or for well, you said that you wish that it should be in all of the schools and
Yeah.
nationwide.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that we can get not in all of them, but a lot of them. I'm not
Mhm,
greedy because there's other programs out there similar, but just hoping that STEP itself is on a larger platform and is recognized as a sport so that the coaches could be compensated properly and so that the art form is respected because
mhm,
there is no respect. It's just like, oh, you're going to do a little routine. I mean, when I worked in the school, the basketball coach versus the step coach. Mind you, there's a whole documentary about the step coach, not the basketball coach, but the basketball coach gets to travel with the team. The step coach got to stay in the classroom. It was
Mhm.
bogus. So just reprogramming the minds of people that, step is here to stay,
Right.
and it is a sport, and we deserve respect. We spend a lot of time and energy making sure we deserve just as much respect as any other coach in any other genre of sports or arts.
Yeah, sure. There's conditioning that's involved. It's lots of practice. I mean, they practice multiple times, 3 and 4 times a week. So, I mean, I personally know that. So if that's not a sport, I don't know what is. What's surprising is that I never wanted to be or never expected. I call like what I do in terms of like getting the kids where they need to go for their extracurriculars is me being a soccer mom.
Yeah.
Like it's being a soccer mom is like a completely different type of mom. You're really on their time, and you're not the leader. That's what I have
Yes,
learned about it. It is a completely different dynamic, and I think that it's a sacrifice.
it
Probably,
is.
yeah. It's a sacrifice of your Saturdays. It's a sacrifice of your evenings. It's a sacrifice of your dinner time. And it does require a big and true commitment. But the result is that if you're lucky, you get a well-rounded child. Yeah.
I do believe that putting your children in things keeps them well rounded. I mean, everyone's
Right.
not going to be able to be LeBron James here. Let's be clear. And I'm not expecting anyone to want to grow up and be a step coach like me,
Hmm.
but which is why I incorporate other things into my program. But at least you'll know how to work with women because it's some grown, very grown women who have
Hmm.
never been a part of anything, and it's clear, it's evident. At least you'll know how to adapt to
Hmm.
situations when they go wrong. When we're out of town, we plan for so many things, and when they go wrong, we can't sit in the corner and cry. We got to keep it moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, being in high stakes or crisis or positive situations, how to take a loss. It would be real cute if we won every single competition, but we don't. And when we don't, you can't fight, you can't pout, you can't go on social media, you can't do that. And if you
Right.
do, I'm going to be here to a safe place to land for me to tell you, like, that's not how you handle the situation. But these are the times that you learn now, not when you're 25 on baddies. I'll
Definitely
just leave
not
that there.
then.
I'll just leave that there. You can tell the girls on baddies wasn't in sports.
They definitely weren't. But sisterhood, that's what I'm hearing from you is that you need to learn. Do you have sisters?
I have 6 sisters.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yes,
I have 2.
yes,
I have 2. So you pledged.
yes,
So that's a different level of sisterhood. I don't have experience with that.
yes. So
Tell
I
me about that
love my
journey.
sisters. Growing up with my sisters was the best thing ever. I have 2 older sisters and 4 younger sisters. My 2 older sisters were both 10 years older than me, so I was able to be a little sister and a big sister.
Mhm.
My sisters, especially my baby sisters, they were being a big sister was just like the best. You're cool, you got information and knowledge, and you're leading someone into a realm that you have experience in. You're not the auntie, you're not the mama, you the sister. So I loved being a big sister and a little sister. Now, obviously, they all have children. Everybody's lives is different. We're not in each other's home day by day and hanging out all the time. Um, yeah, I mean, I loved it. In the sorority, I really didn't join. It was funny. Everyone joins sororities for different reasons.
Mhm.
Because I had 6 sisters, I was like, I got sisters. I want to be in a sorority for the business, for the moves that they making,
The
for
networking.
the networking. And when I got in, I did gain several sisters, people who have been by my side in times where I would have never been able to get through. People who have prayed me out of dark spots where I didn't think light was available and they were pulling the blinds back. People who have done things for me
Mhm.
that I wouldn't even be able to ask from my natural born sisters. So that is an experience that will have for the rest of my life, being connected with 11 souls, that all of us is 11 of us, that are forever tied together as a line. And then just like nationwide, wherever I go, there is a Delta around. There is a Delta doing something big. And it's a beautiful thing. And then I have sister friends. Like, I consider all my friends like sisters. And again, people who are prayer warriors, who have been the bank sometimes, who have
Mhm.
been, just there for me. And I'm a girl's girl, 100%. Girl's
Mhm.
girl. Even if I can't stand you, I don't want to see you that down bad. At this point, I'm gonna pray for you. I can't speak for back in the day, but at this point,
Mhm.
I don't want nothing to do with you, but Imma pray for you.
Okay, I understand that. Yeah. I never pledged, but there's sisterhood. Well, I'll say the sororities and the fraternities, in terms of like the Black community, I don't think even us externally, the people who are not in them, really understand like the value that they have to the collective community, because those are our own insular communities that we actually do have like strong connections to that last generations, really. Over 100 years is the D9.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody by Iota Phi Theta, they were founded in the 50s, so they're not quite at 100 years, but
Mhm.
everyone else, over 100 years. I can't imagine, even down to Alpha Kappa Alpha, the first Black sorority, when they started out. Like, I can't imagine that they would have thought that young girls are literally still crossing, that they're
Yeah.
the vice president of the United States of America. They're leading in reality TVs. They're leading in the courtroom. They're leading in the classroom. I'm sure they couldn't imagine that. But I'm sure the adults is worse. Like, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But no, seriously, I know that, Black Greek fraternities and sororities, the things that have been accomplished with, I mean, so many notable people: Debbie
Yeah.
Allen, Felicia Rashad, Thurgood Marshall, Anthony Anderson, like just so many people that are doing big things.
Yeah.
Big things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ariel
It's
wants to
it's
join
great
the
to be
AK.
connected.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I didn't know, and I'm sorry. Say no, I'm kidding. Well,
Listen, sway
Coach
her.
Shy. No, no, no. Coach Shy is an AKA, and she's a great mentor to these girls. That's one of the first young ladies I coached. She's still with me to this day,
Mhm.
and she will cross the ocean for these girls. She loves them. She loves the girls. When prom season come around, she goes into mama mode. She's like, "What do they need? I got them. They need makeup. So listen, you good."
That's gonna be the time.
If
Yeah.
you're not into it, like, she's already planning my daughter's birthday. I'm like, girl, I'm not doing no birthday party. She's like, let's do a prom send off. I'm like, do you know my child is 1 years
Right.
old? She like, I know, but we got make sure we got. I'm like, girl, bye.
Yeah.
So Coach Shy is the best. All of the coaches are great with the girls, but Coach Shy is the AKA, and she's probably a part of that influence. But some people just say AKA because of
The color.
the colors, the pretty girl thing. That's what I used to say when I was younger. Who don't want to be a pretty girl? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But you might gravitate towards Zeta. You might gravitate towards SG Road. They're all great women.
Right. That's true. Maybe I'm old. I just thought, well, I'm not light skinned enough to be AKA anyway. So if I was, it wasn't going to be them. I know the
Yeah,
times have
well,
changed, thankfully. So that's
not
not
only have times changed, like there are very, very brown AKAs, very brown
yeah.
AKAs.
No, I have seen, and that is a good thing because it was ridiculous. But I watched School Days, and so that was like
Yeah.
all I need to know. Oh, that's what they
Yeah.
do. So
Yeah,
shout
and
out
it's
to
so
Spike Lee.
funny how stuff like that really influences your
Media.
thoughts. Yeah, media influences your thoughts. Because I watched School Days, but I was older. I mean, I was younger, of course, and yeah, it just wasn't as like, oh, I took it as like a joke almost. I didn't think that
Mhm.
that was a real thing. So yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but I've seen some
yeah.
things. Um, I want to go back to your motherhood journey
Hmm.
because tell, well, I'll just say you free birthed, but most
Yes.
people don't know what that is. So please tell us.
So I could talk about this for 50,000 hours, on hours, on hours, on hours. But I'll start with the fact that I am an advocate of Black women surviving childbirth.
Hmm.
The numbers are ridiculous. 1 in 4 Black women die in childbirth. And it doesn't have to be that way. In America, women die in general at alarming rates compared to other developed societies like Sweden, Canada, and it's absurd. My yearning to not have my children at a hospital came from hearing stories about my foremothers, understanding what happened with them when they gave birth, thinking that when you birth a child, it's a great experience. But unfortunately, when my grandmother had her children, she had 5, and my mother had her children, she had 5. It was not.
Mm,
Which immediately, as a young child, put on my radar that the hospital is not a safe space for Black women to have children.
sure.
Immediately on my radar. My grandmother had seizures and what they call twilight births for all
Mhm.
5 of her children. So she was put to sleep, and when she woke up, the baby was in her hands.
Yeah.
So it's no telling what
And
was
she wasn't
happening.
asleep. Just let's
Yeah.
be clear. Like they call it that. They call it twilight sleep, but she wasn't asleep. We actually talked about that in the last podcast that I did with a birth worker. But yeah, no,
Mhm.
she wasn't asleep. They gave him medication so they wouldn't remember and covered them. And they just a terrible barbaric practice.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, that was all of her experience, and her last baby actually passed away, and she never even got a chance to hold the baby or see the baby. So that is, I'm actually doing a legacy, lineage and legacy. Shout out to my girl Brittany Janae, but doing a lineage and legacy documentary on my grandmother to understand her experiences as a young woman, so that I can show it to my grandchildren. So talk about
Mhm.
legacy. But she told me these experiences, and I asked her, "Well, did you suffer from postpartum? Did you experience like sadness?" And she was like, "I can't remember. We didn't really acknowledge those things. We just had to keep going." And I'm like,
Right.
"You carried a baby for 9 months and you had to just keep going." But she had four other small children. Her oldest at the time was maybe 5.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking to hear, even, even now. But you're absolutely right. But I guess like the gift of understanding, it made you make a different decision.
Yeah, yeah. And this was in 1966 when that happened. So when my mother actually had me, she almost died. She basically died when she had me. She had to do an emergency C-section with me because I had a bowel movement. And they did emergency C-section, but something went wrong when she got patched up. She had a stroke, a heart attack, and was pretty much pronounced as a vegetable, someone who would never recover. If she did, she would just lay there. I I was fine, but
Mhm,
she wasn't. And she said that she was 27 when she had me, so she was
mhm.
young. She said that she could hear them making her funeral arrangements. Like she could still hear them making her funeral arrangements, and them being and she her being like, "Did I die? Like, why are they doing
Wow.
this?" So she couldn't do anything,
Yeah.
but she fully recovered. She did fully recover. She had to learn how to walk, talk, everything all over again, go to the bathroom. So she did fully recover through a rehabilitation, and did get like a case. She didn't get like a lawsuit because at the time she said hospitals and lawyers worked together. So that
Mhm,
a malpractice was not a thing. It wasn't as popular as it was then. But long story short, she fully recovered. She just had numbness on her left leg, and those illnesses kind of follow her all the way through her life until she passed away in 2019. But those are the things that shaped why. And then she had 3 absolutely normal pregnancies after that. But those are the things that shaped why I did not want to have children at the hospital. And it was really important to me to have a partner that supported that. And that's
mhm.
how I knew my husband was my husband, amongst other things. But for some reason, one time we were like looking at animals birthing children, and he was like, "This is how you know what they're doing at the hospital isn't right." And I was like, "Tell me more." And he was like, "I don't want my kid to have like the umbilical cord cut immediately. I don't want,
What?
my kid to be
He was
born
saying
with the
that?
hot spot." Yeah, he was like, "I don't want the light to be like all in his face. I want it to be a peaceful environment. Wouldn't that be nice? Like, Keith, like, would you want to do a water birth?" And I was like, "That's exactly what I would want to do." And then
Mhm,
before we even were married, we started doing research that hospitals don't even do water births anymore. So then we
mhm,
started looking at other options, and really we were hit with brick walls,
mhm.
no support. So, we weren't married. I wasn't trying to have no baby, so I kind of let it go. But once we did get married, I was very like, I cannot have my baby at a hospital, and we still planned I planned all 3 of my pregnancies. We planned our pregnancies, and I was pregnant. And 4 months into gestation, one of my coworkers came back off maternity leave, and I asked her like, how was her experience? She was like, "Girl, it was beautiful. I had my baby at Special Beginnings
Mhm.
birthing center." And I was like, "What?" And she told me all about it. And I was like, this is what I've been looking for. And then she gave me all these groups to join because we have been socialized to like not breastfeed,
Mhm.
to take medicine. And it's nothing wrong if you don't want to breastfeed. It's nothing wrong if you want an epidural. But why can't it be the first option? Like, why are we
Right.
like, I thought Pitocin was a part of the childbirth process because I watched all my friends give birth and they got Pitocin. That's an intervention
Mhm.
that actually slows birth down.
Yep.
But anyway, I asked her and she gave me the information. I went home, told my husband. He was like, "Let's go tomorrow." We went the next day, transferred all of our things over, and had our son on New Year's Eve at 4:37 a.m. at Special Beginnings Birthing Center, our first son. Honestly, I was supposed to get a C-section.
Why?
He was flipped sunny side up. So he was
Oh,
head down
okay.
but face up. Head
Right.
down but face
Okay.
up. And they were like, this is what a doctor would
Right.
absolutely schedule a C-section for this. And you would have a very long, very difficult labor. And if you
Mhm.
show any signs of distress, we're going to transfer you.
Yep.
And I will never forget, I was in labor for 28 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, and my mother never watched any of her grandchildren. She had 7 grandchildren at the time. Never watched any of her grandchildren be birthed. I asked her, "What do you remember about my labor? Did you feel like something was wrong?" And she said, "Yeah, my water broke first and I saw poop in it." And I said, "Huh?" She said, "I saw your poop in the when the water broke."
Mhm.
And I said, "Oh, that's interesting." And then when my water broke, guess what I saw?
Poop.
Yep.
Plutonium. Yep.
So I was like, "Oh my God,
What
the
you was gonna
exact
say?
same thing's gonna happen to me. I'm gonna die." But I had to stay calm and I had to remember my body could do this. And I did. My husband
Okay.
helped me through all 28 hours. I had 32 people in the room when I birthed, all cheering me on. I pushed for
Oh,
two and a
wow.
half hours. Yes, 2.5 hours I pushed. Everybody cheered me on the whole way through. It was an experience of a lifetime. And when I tell you I would do it again the next day, I
Mhm.
promise I would.
That is amazing. First of all, that is a long birth, not abnormal.
Yes.
It just the hours just sound very long, but not abnormal at all. I don't
Yes.
want to give that indication, but that is beautiful. And
Yeah, it was beautiful.
you went on to have the next two the same way.
So once I did that, I thought I was a pro. Crazy enough, I planned all my pregnancy. So my second pregnancy, I was trying to have my son in April.
Mm.
So in my mind, I'm
So you can
thinking
be an
like it's
Aries.
March. Yes. Well, he is an Aries, but I wanted his birthday to be 4/4/21.
Okay.
I don't know what it was about it,
Right.
4/4, but I wanted to be 4/2 or 4/4. But anyway, no, I wanted to be in between 4/3 and 4/4 because I wanted his birthday to be 4/3/2/1. I thought that was cute. But anyway, he didn't come that day. He came on the 28th. So I remember that day I had tryouts for STEP. That's actually when
Mm.
Stacy, who's currently on the team, tried out for the STEP team that same day.
Wow.
And I had a board meeting and a photo shoot. So I got up at like 6 o'clock, did my makeup to do my photo shoot. I did what is the photo shoot that I did? Black Panther's photo shoot.
Hmm.
So I did not know the sex of my children before I had them. So that was like the big
That's
surprise. Like, what am I gonna have?
yeah.
So the first time I knew I was gonna have a boy the first time. I was like, it's God, he knows me. I need a boy. So I knew I
Mhm.
was gonna have a boy. The second time, I felt very confident, but I was like, I don't know. So I wanted to do the Black Panther's photo shoot just as like a protective mother, a mom bear type
Mhm.
thing. So did the photo shoot, then the board meeting at 9, that lasts to 11, and then I had trials at 12. At tryouts, I was having contractions. And I was like, it's just Braxton Hicks. It's just Braxton Hicks. Let me just get through this.
Mhm.
And trials was over at 3. It was like 12 to 3. After trials, I went and got a burger and I had a hard contraction that kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I said, "Oh no, am I in labor?" And then I counted to see how much time between as I was eating. And then I told the server, I said, "I'm in labor." And he said, "Well, what do you want me to do?"
Right. Right. That was an
And I
appropriate
said,
response.
literally, I said, "I'm gonna call my mother-in-law. She'll come get me." Because I don't know. I don't think I was driving.
Mhm.
So I called my mother-in-law and I said, "Hey, are you busy?" And she said, "No." I said, "Do you think you can come get me? I think I'm in labor." She was like, "Where are you?" She got there like within 10 minutes. I don't even know where she was.
Mhm.
Her and her sister, they're twins. So I got two mother-in-laws really because they do everything together. But they came and got me. They fed me some more because I know to help the labor progress, you got to eat, ladies. To help the labor
Mhm.
progress, you got to eat, you got to drink, you got to clear your bowels and your pee. Your, what is it called? You got to pee.
Mhm. Yeah, you gotta be.
Yeah, so
All
I
of
was
that,
eating the
and
whole
it's gonna
time.
clear itself too, also.
Yeah, I was eating the whole time. One of the biggest things that I did so many birthing classes. I did birthing classes with the goat,
Mhm.
Nalaja.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes, yes, the goat Nalaja. So she came to my house, did my birthing class. I did hypnobirthing. So
Mhm.
I was good.
You were
Um,
prepared.
yeah, very prepared. I did everything the first and second time around. And, again, like I felt like a pro, and I handled it like a pro. I was in labor for 4 hours. Pushed him
Mhm.
out in the water. He came out. He was a big baby, almost 9 pounds. So he was 8'11", 8 foot 39, and I had him in my living room.
I love that.
When I got home, I kind of walked around a lot, cleaned up. I wanted to fry some chicken. Like I just act like nothing
Mhm.
stopped. I kept eating and drinking and using the bathroom. I wore Depends so that I could release myself if necessary, if I couldn't make it upstairs. But I just kept going. And another thing I did was drink a bottle of wine to kind of calm my nerves.
Mhm.
So I did sip on some wine. I mean,
At
you
that
take an
point,
epidural. Yeah, I
that's way
mean, you take
worse.
an epidural, way worse. It has fentanyl in it. Exactly. So I had a little wine to kind of just keep me like, Gary, you got this. You know what you're doing. You got this.
Mhm.
And I had him, and that was the only birth in water. And he was the only baby that came out in water. And he is still my mermaid baby. That child right there. He's named after me because we couldn't decide on a name after 2 weeks.
Mhm.
We were like, all right, let's just name him Gary. And yeah, so we had a son after the dad, who's the third, and then another son after me and my dad. So kind of a third because I'm
I
named
think
after
that's
my
perfect.
father. Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm done.
Mhm.
I'm good on these babies. I'm good. Like, especially once he had turned 3 and I felt like I was getting my freedom and my life back. I stopped breastfeeding. I breastfed for 2 years with both of them. And my husband was like, let's go for one more. I was like, okay, why not? And he was like, tonight. I was like, whole time I'm looking at my ovulation calendar. I'm like, I'm not ovulating. No biggie. Ciao. The next day I knew I was pregnant. I could feel it all in my
Wow.
body. I could tell by how the way my stomach was moving. All I said, oh, I think I'm pregnant. He said, how could you think you're pregnant the day after? I said, because I know my body.
Didn't even know your
And
body.
before you know it, 2 weeks came, no period. 3 weeks came, I say,
Mhm.
"You wanna take a test?" He said, "We ain't never strike out before. It is what it is." So, I didn't gain any weight with her, thank God, and that was, like, our busiest season that year. We went
Mhm.
to so many different competitions, and I was at every single practice, which is
Mhm.
probably why she's so sassy now. Lord have mercy. So I was at every practice. I worked up until, it was time, and then even I had her December 10th. We had our homecoming June 22nd. Me and Kobe were right there, and that's how we've been for the past year and a half. She
Yeah.
been my road dog ever since. But I had her on my bed because the water wasn't warm enough. I got in the water, and that water was not warm enough. I said, "Oh no, everybody get out! I'm going upstairs. I'm going to sleep." And when I went upstairs, 20 minutes later, she came.
Well, you knew what to do. So yeah. So
Yeah,
you know. So
I just
or
needed
whether
that
she
water a
did.
little warmer because I like warm water. So yeah,
Right.
her birth hurt the most. And that's when I knew I was done having children. The other two,
Mhm.
labor was not a thing. Like having the contractions were fine. I just rolled the waves. With her,
Mhm.
I was like, this hurts. What is happening?
Really? So the third one, that's so interesting.
And it's probably I went into labor when I was going to sleep. So
Mhm.
I literally texted my husband. He had stepped out to go to the store to get. He asked me that I want soda. I said, "Yeah, give me a peach soda." And I said, "I'm about to lay down and go to sleep. So put it in the freezer." As soon as I laid down, my water broke.
And how long
Yeah,
was
so
this
it was
labor?
6.5 hours.
Okay. Yeah. Still a real labor. That's what I'm talking about. I,
Hmm.
I had quick labors with both of the kids. Ariel's was 6 hours in the end. Like from the first
Hmm.
contraction, I'll never forget. Law I was watching Law and Order and it was like 10:45. The show goes off at 11. And I never got to finish the episode. Yeah. 6 hours with her, 8.5 hours with Atlas. And my water broke
Okay.
first with him. And then it was like my water broke. And for 2 hours I felt nothing. I'm like, well, I know
Yep.
I'm in labor. But much like you said, so I did wind up having hospital births, unfortunately. And those are great stories. I'm sorry. I
That's
get excited
good.
about birth too. Like I really get
Yeah.
excited.
Me
So
too.
I
Me too.
I'm a former doula. I don't have many clients, but I am a trained doula and trained childbirth educator. So like all the things that you talked about, I definitely understand. Special beginnings was not in my insurance purview. So special beginnings didn't happen for me. And I just didn't wanna that was a bop. It's closed, but
It was.
45 minutes for Baltimore is a trip that I just was
It was a
unwilling to
vibe.
make. Yeah.
And that's what they said when I was going to labor. They were like, I was like, so how am I going to get out of here? They was like, girl,
Mhm.
the babies take forever to come.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
come
that's what
on.
they say. And obviously we absolutely could have well, we might have could have made it. I say that
Hmm.
because Ariel's labor was 6 hours. I stayed home the majority of that time. So I ultimately
Yeah.
wound up having her at St. Joe's in Towson. But
Oh, beautiful.
she came earthside 10 minutes upon my arrival there. So I really like pushed it to like the hilt. So she could have almost been born in the parking lot, quite honestly with Atlas because I thought that it was going to be, they always say like the second versus shorter. I thought, okay, well, this would be shorter. I should arrive to the hospital sooner. But I wound up being there for 6 hours and then he was born. But like you were saying, yeah, no water births. The hospital, University of Maryland with him, they allowed me to labor in the tub. They had one room with the tub, but I could not actually deliver in the tub which is just like ultimately these are the concessions that I was willing to make but I do ultimately, if I were to have another one, it would definitely be a home birth. It would definitely be a water birth.
Yeah,
That's
you
something
could
that I'm
do
holding
it.
out for. Oh
So
yeah.
many people I know who've done it, if they've had their first couple and then say, you know what, this is what I want now.
Hmm.
Having 3 liberated births is something
Liberated
I cannot
births.
explain. It's something I just simply cannot explain. I could not imagine walking into a hospital and giving birth. And it's nothing wrong with doing that. It just was
Hmm.
not for me. And I really blazed that path for myself. I
Hmm.
never got my cervix checked to see how far along I was. I
Hmm.
never got my cervix swiped. I never was pressured into taking any medicine or any vaccines that I didn't feel necessary. I was informed, but I never felt pressured. I
Hmm.
mean, I was able to get care. My midwife came to my house once a month. Can you imagine that?
Bedside care. True bedside care.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so she was able to see my environment. She was able to
Hmm.
see, like, are you depressed? She was able to see so much that the doctor just doesn't see. And not that I was going through that. It's just so necessary because as women, as mothers, it's just certain things that we know. It's certain things that we can see, certain things that just go off. Like I said, I could talk about childbirth for 10 years. So
I know, but we got to talk about this fundraiser. So, 'cause that's
yes,
so
yes,
powerful.
yes.
I enjoy talking about it though. All
Yeah, me
right.
too. It's one of my dreams to start a podcast about STEP.
As you should.
Okay.
So you were saying one of your dreams is to start a step podcast.
Yeah, I really want to. Myself and Coach Shy, we
Hmm.
have very different opinions, and she's not afraid to, she don't feel sunned by me, so she's okay with like disagreeing and stating her opinion about things. But yeah, just to get other step coaches more
Shine.
recognition, shine, and to, continue to uplift the art form of step.
Yeah. How many step coaches are there? I guess nationally. Do you know, like give or take? Like, cause
Over a
uh,
hundred, there's a lot.
okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Florida alone, Florida got half of them down there.
So Florida really is the big play. Of course, we're supposed to be fundraising to get
Yes.
the girls to Florida.
Yes,
But
yes.
Florida is like a hub for
Yeah,
step.
yeah. There's a lot of, well, let me just say that there's one of the longest standing best step teams, all girls, in the
Mhm.
nation in Florida, taken by surprise. They have been around for a long, long time. They have like big recruitment and they have been winning national titles for years. And then there's like Jack's Gents and other step teams that are down in Florida. I can't think of any off the top of my head, and I don't want to mess
Mhm.
nobody's team's name up. But shout out to all the Florida step teams. I was down there doing that thing. But I'm telling you, if it's 100 step teams, if it's 300, half of them in
Mhm.
Florida. That is a hub for step. And Florida's so big. So you got Jacksonville, you got
Mhm.
Orlando, you got
Tallahassee.
Miami, you got Tallahassee,
I just wanted to say
Yes, Tallahassee
it.
Pain.
What are some of the, so there are a lot of teams, there are step competitions. What are some of the big step competition titles that you're looking to win?
Well, to be honest, winning is not everything. So I just wanted
Okay.
to say as a disclaimer. I mean, it feels good to win, but if our program was simply built off winning championships, then we would be, kind of building shallow girls. And we do work hard to win, but that is not our main goal. Some of the competitions that we're going to this year is hosted by Taken by Surprise. It's called Step Metheus. It's a national step competition, and the competition is thick. Down in Florida, it's an excellent experience for the girls. One to just travel out of state, get some, bonding time. Hopefully, we'll come back with some hardware or a trophy. But more importantly, they'll have an experience that they never had before with people that they wouldn't otherwise outside of their family. It's great. I love taking them on these kind of experiences. But that we're also going to a step show, Step Olympics. That's actually in Maryland, and it's really coming up to being one of the best step competitions. It's hosted by two high school teams at Eleanor Roosevelt High School, Lady
Okay.
Raiders and them Raider Boys. We are defending champions, so going back this year and winning would be sweet. But if we don't, we don't. And then we're going to a competition in North Carolina. So Icons and Lady Icons, they host a competition
Mhm.
in March as well. And they another team that's been around for years, a coach that's been doing this for a long, long time, way longer than me. They have a lot of experience, and it's always a vibe. We have CIAA coming up, which isn't really a competition everyone gets a stipend for, but there's the theme competition. So if you have
Yeah.
the right theme, let me pause you because my son is coming. I just need to get something. Okay, you gotta wait till I'm done. I'm almost done. Oh my god.
Well, what you
Sweet
getting?
child. Huh?
I said, "Well, what you getting?" He just listen. He
A straw, a
Oh,
straw.
okay,
That's a
all
straw.
right. He
Um,
said he never gonna come back.
that is the child that I was telling you about. You hear how he talks? I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna walk away and never come back. Like, how are you negotiating with me? And
Listen,
how did I give in? But
because
just to
he's a
pick up.
good advocate for himself.
Yeah. Yeah, so just to pick up, CIAA Baltimore, big weekend for the city.
Hmm.
Our step show is, I mean, that's we do really well every year, but we never win. So we already have it in our head, like we don't care about winning, but we make it like a bonding experience. We have food, we give out jackets, we reflect, we just have a good time. So even if we don't
Listen,
win, if we win, it's even better. But if we don't win, it's like, oh, whatever.
every time y'all go on the stage at the Baltimore Convention Center, and I get to see my baby on the stage, that is a win to me.
Yes,
To see
yes.
her on stage, so you can't tell me that that's not a win. You can't tell me that's not a great experience. I
That's
love the
how I feel.
CIAA stuff show.
Yes, that's
So,
how I feel. Like whether we win or lose, it's like we're here. Like we made it
hmm,
here. It's invite only. We made it. So yeah, I'm always happy to be at that step show. So shout out to them. But Florida is first. That's in February. That's Step Metheus. That's hosted by Take It by Surprise. And right now we are raising money to get to Florida. We
yes,
are trying to get down there. And while we're down there, we're gonna need transportation. We're gonna need some good food.
yeah,
So we're actually running a campaign for Giving Tuesday to raise some funds towards us getting to Florida and getting back and having a good time while we're down there.
yes.
We will be defending our title. So we won first place before. So we're coming back to defend our title. But more importantly, we're gonna be staying in a beautiful house that's like Disney themed. And we're
Oh,
gonna
nice.
have yeah, we're gonna have like a fun activity for them to do. But all of these things cost money. So
Hmm.
having the coin to do that is really important and so worth it because it's experiences that these girls will have for the rest of their lives. And you'll be a part of that story if you donate. So Giving Tuesday is this Tuesday, December 2nd. If anyone finds it in their heart to give anything to help towards us getting to Florida, we need money for ground transportation, for food, and towards our transportation down there because obviously we're not going to be, you know, carpooling and food.
Yeah, every little bit helps. Every lot of bit
Yes.
helps.
Every lot of it helps.
Yes. So give, give, give. And here's my last question: what does it take to be a good stepper? What is some of the things that you're looking for in a girl?
The number one thing I'm looking for is someone who doesn't want to quit, who wants to do it and doesn't want to quit. Besides that, we can turn anybody into a stepper. You just
Even
have
me.
to even you. You have to be able to put your mind to it. I was able to teach people across the country how
Hmm.
to step. Whites, blacks, all kinds of people, old, young,
Right.
rhythm challenged. So that's the least of my worries. The biggest thing is that you are a young woman who wants to be a part of something bigger, who wants to positively contribute to the organization and to the world. And
Hmm.
you're gonna have some ups and downs, but we're gonna be here.
Yeah. I would be remiss. So, in addition to your program, which of course teaches STEP and all the fundamentals of STEP, they have the competitions, they have their sisterhood, but you also teach them life skills. So, can
Yes.
you tell us about some of that programming?
Yes, child. Because there's not a real career that you can go into that to be a step coach and be trying to get it recognized as a step, as a sport. We have to incorporate other skills besides steps. So we teach life skills through steps. So we do college tours, we do college and career readiness, we do Hey Sis Sundays where we bring a professional to come in and talk about their experiences, how they got to where they are, conflict resolution, sister circles, financial literacy, we're actually performing at a college tour at Morgan State University, and we're going to do a scavenger hunt to see who can get accepted to the most colleges amongst the seniors, and that person will get a prize. We are really just catering towards the whole girl. And in order to do that, it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of dedication, but most importantly, it takes parents like you who want their child to be a part of an amazing program and wants to positively contribute towards it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Coach
Thank
Gary.
you.
This has been great. I know we talked a lot about birth,
Yes.
but that's the beginnings.
Yes.
And I think that it needs more shine. I don't think that we need to normalize talking about birth and talking about parenting in general. It's not all bad. A lot of it is good, and it's the foundation for so many other great things.
Yeah, yeah. And having a business is like giving birth, I always say I
Hmm.
got four kids, my business and
Hmm.
my kids. I had the business right in between number one and number two.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. You are a business owner. Yes.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, these are things I can talk about all day. But thank you
Mm,
so much for trusting me with your baby girl. I love her. She's the best.
thank you. I was talk about how she gives such good face. Her performance face, I think, is just like amazing. I don't know
It
where
is.
it
It
comes
is.
from, but she's a smiley girl and she loves it.
Well, wait till you see her at CIAA this year. She's giving everything it needs to give. Okay.
I believe it. I believe it. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. And we'll
Thank
talk
you.
soon. And we're raising money, guys. Don't forget.
Yes, Giving
Yes.
Tuesday. Consider giving to Coaching Academy. We are 501(c)(3), so it's tax write offable as the IRS allows. Thank you.
All right. Talk soon.
Peace.
All right.